As we get to the end of this row, you are ready for a color change, but you'll notice that there is no other color to pick up at the end of this row. That's because we have worked an odd number of rows in color A, and color B is still waiting at the other end. Here is color B, patiently waiting for us to start working. So there are two things we need to do and not do. Do not turn the work. Slide the work to the other end of the needle. Now you are working this next row on the same side as the previous row. This means that any edge stitches that were worked the same way on every row until now need to be worked differently until you slide the work again. Here you are trying to maintain a garter edge. Until this point you just knit this stitch on every row to create that garter edge. On any given row you knit into a purl stitch created by knitting the same stitch on the previous row. Now that same stitch looks like a knit stitch because we did not turn the work around. So you can follow the directions in the pattern, you can read the chart, or you can read your knitting to understand what to do for each edge stitch. Here, this edge stitch looks like a knit, so you know you need to purl into it. Work to the edge stitches on the other side. Here we have a knit, so you purl into that. There is one exception, and that is the last stitch on every row is knit, regardless of whether you slid the work or not. In this case, the first stitch is a slip stitch, and to set up for that, the last stitch on the previous row needs to be knitted. When you turn around at this point, you will twist the yarns. Move the current yarn to the left, bring the other yarn up from the right and to the left above the current yarn. Pick up the current yarn over the other yarn and keep working. If you bring the current yarn under the project and then over the needle, your yarns won't tangle. When you get to a color change and both yarns are at the same end, turn your work. When you get to a color change and the other yarn is not waiting for you, don't turn, just slide your work and start the next row on the same side as the previous row.